Should we be able to manually aim inside of Moco? And personally, I think it's a good idea to be able to manually aim just like it is in Brawl Stars. And here's why. So as it is now, it is auto aim inside of Moco, and it does sort of raise some problems in certain aspects of the game, which I've seen. And the major problem I'm going to explain at the end of the video. But one of the problems I did notice was the rifts. Now, I'm going to take the Snowclaw Summit rift, for example, here. And the run up to the boss isn't too bad for the auto aim, just with the mobs and things. But the problem starts when you're in the boss fight itself. Now, you're fighting a big freezer inside of Snowclaw Summit. And one of the builds you have is the speed chop bow and the chickens. Obviously, you've got the chickens on there to keep the boss distracted, so she's not going to attack you. But the problem is, when you've got the chickens equipped, she actually goes into this phase where she freezes the enemies close to her. So you being the enemy and the chickens being the enemy, what she starts doing is freezing the chickens into these ice blocks. And now with it being auto aim, this is kind of a problem, because when you're trying to do the normal, hard and nightmare modes in under 2 minutes, obviously you want to be aiming at the boss and inflicting as much damage as quickly as possible to the boss, so you can get them rifts done in under 2 minutes. But like I did say, sometimes she'll freeze the chickens into ice cubes, and you'll start attacking these ice cubes because your aim will switch from targeting the boss to the ice cubes because they are slightly closer to you, and then you can't hit the boss. So sometimes she freezes loads of chickens, so you've got loads of ice cubes around the boss, and you can't actually hit her for this auto aim. And it is something I noticed the other day. Like I did say, you want to be able to complete these rifts in as quick a time as possible. So I was just thinking, if you had a manual aim function inside of Moco, it would be super helpful for some of these rifts, because if you did freeze these chickens into these ice blocks, you could just move out the way or move your aim past them and hit the boss. So that is one aspect of the game I have seen it being a problem, and I think having a manual aim function would be super helpful for some of the rifts at least. But like I did say, the main issue for me is inside of PvP. So they've got an auto aim function currently inside of Moco, and honestly, I don't know if PvP inside of this game will be a successful game mode as long as it is an auto aim function inside of the game. I honestly don't see how we can use weapons that fire, such as a speed shot bow, inside of the PvP with the auto aim function. Kind of doesn't make sense to me, and this is the whole reason I stopped playing games like Call of Duty, because there was players paying for third-party software to give them that privilege, such as the aimbot and things. That's the whole reason I stopped playing them PvP games. And now we've got a similar sort of thing inside of Moco with the auto aim. It kind of just doesn't make sense to me to have this inside of a PvP mode. And you can see why it's a problem, because there's actually B-roll playing on screen now of me inside of PvP. And I'm actually fighting another player, and the other player tries to run away, and I'm trying to run after them and fire at them, but then I get surrounded by monsters, and my aim locks onto the monsters instead of the player I actually want to fight. And it's super frustrating. And like I did say, this is the main reason I won't play PvP, because I don't feel in control of my character at times when I'm trying to fight other players, especially when there's like loads of players around you as well, and you're fighting one player, you sort of get them down to 20% HP, and then another player comes and your auto aim switches onto that player, and that player either starts damaging you or is able to flee and heal themselves. It is such a pain, and it's just something, in my humble opinion, that isn't working in PvP whatsoever, and it kind of spoils that game mode for me. Like I say, if I'm going into PvP, I want to be able to aim manually, so I have the choice of what I want to attack inside of that game mode. So we touched on Brawl Stars at the start of the video, and that is a PvP game, and you choose your character and things, and they all do different abilities. I don't really play Brawl Stars, but inside the game, you can manually aim yourself. So when you're playing the game, you manually aim your character, and you choose where you want to fire and which enemy you want to attack. Now imagine if it wasn't like that. Imagine if it was like Moco and it was an auto aim function inside of Brawl Stars. I really don't think that game would be as successful as it is today if that was the case. And there is a reason these guys use a manual aim function inside of their game modes, and it's because it kind of works. That's just how you want it to be inside of PvP. And don't get me wrong, these sort of use case scenarios inside the game for the auto attack function. For example, if you're running around in a world, you're doing world farming, you've got some daily jobs to do, you want to get through some projects, so you join a world, join a death ball, and you just run around in a big death ball. It is great for just moving around with your left joystick and then just pressing the attack button, and then you're killing anything and everything in sight, because you don't really need to concentrate, do you? If it's an auto aim function, you can just run around in your death ball, maybe watch a little bit of TV while you're doing things. And that is a great thing about the auto aim function. So it does have some use case scenarios inside the game. I'm not like completely knocking it, but I'm just saying for the more competitive part of Moco, i.e. the PvP, and some of the rifts, especially if you try to do them in sub 2 minutes, that a manual aim function will come in clutch, in my opinion, and it will raise the skill ceiling in them aspects of the game. But like I did say, the auto aim function is a good part of the game in some aspects. So I think it would be awesome if you go into your settings and there's actually a toggle switch there for auto aim and manual aim. So if you're doing well farming and stuff, you just want to have a chill gaming session, you can have your auto aim knocked on. Or even for some rifts, you know, if you're a high level and you're helping low levels, you want to put the auto aim on so you can just run through the rifts. You don't really need to aim there. So if you want to manual aim, just knock it off. Just have the toggle switch inside the settings, and then you can have auto aim on or manual aim on, and it's totally down to the player. And I think that's going to please everyone inside of Moco.